Hello and welcome to my studio again. Today I'm focusing on pomegranate basic shapes and values, and it's going to be probably a shorter video, at least that's what I'm targeting for. So my main target in this one just to describe all the different planes and show how the color and values change on the simple object and at the same time complex object as pomegranate. So let's get started. Today I'm trying to show my palette on a separate video, and hopefully it will work and you will see how I'm mixing the colors. So I'll try to mention what I'm doing while I'm doing, and then I will also try not to forget, like I did last time, to show my setup of pomegranate. It's very basic. I have a light gray background. I have a cool light from the window, even though it's not 100% consistent. There is a little bit of sun coming out, but I would say it's a good light right now to paint with. And I have a light tabletop, and I just have a basic shape of pomegranate already drafted, and I primed my canvas with transparent red oxide and ultramarine blue, and it's a very small panel. Sorry, it's not a canvas, it's a small panel, 6 by 6. So let's get started. So I will do the foam shadow first. So I'm mixing transparent red oxide and ultramarine. It's quite dark, but when I squint it is very dark, so I go with big brush so I can see it's very dark on this bottom part. And also there is a little plane coming here and then here, and the one that goes to background as well, and there is a little shadow falling off the tip of pomegranate. So here I have alizarin crimson, so it's still dark mixture. I just see a little bit of red in this particular shadow, so I'm mixing that alizarin into my shadow mixture, so it kind of goes like this. Now I'm going to do cast shadow. So again I'm mixing a little bit of transparent red oxide, a little bit of ultramarine blue, and a little bit of card yellow dip, and actually I don't think it's that light. I think it's a little bit darker, so this is my Mars brown. So the shadow is going to be warm, and I just try to make it very transparent. Now I'm trying to touch a little bit of my background. So again, this mixture of brown and blue, ultramarine and brown, I'm adding a little bit more white just to see how it will look. Yeah, that's about the right value. So I just want to see, actually it's even lighter than that. Just want to see how that will work. Oh, that's not a very clean brush. Yeah, the value was a little bit more. White is a little bit better. So this is my background, and I can see that I'm not going very detailed right now. I just want to see the main planes, and at the bottom I can see more light falling on this side. Yeah, so that's my background, and I'll do a little bit of tabletop as well. So here I start from white because tabletop is quite light, and I'm adding a little bit of yellow ochre, and again a little bit of transparent Mars and a little bit of red oxide, just to see how my tabletop will look. Again, where the shadow is, it shouldn't be very sharp edges, because the shadows are normally not sharp edges, not very strong edges in comparison with the objects, because they're just shadows. So sometimes when there is a huge contrast and there is a big bright light and a very deep shadows can be quite sharp, but that's not the case right now. So I'm going to refine a little bit pomegranate shape, put a little bit deeper cast shadow here. Okay, so now I'm going to do my second value, a little bit lighter for pomegranate. So I'm using alizarin and cad red light, and this will be my brightest color, because it will be the very front of pomegranate where it's very saturated. So it's a bit like this. There's a little bit of this at the bottom, this end of pomegranate at the back. So, and then I have to increase value a little bit more, so I'm adding to cad red light, cad yellow light, so two lights, two cadmiums, red and yellow. So it gives a higher value, still quite high chroma, and at the same time it's a lighter value. So pomegranate is a very beautiful fruit to paint, and at this point I'm going to change my brush to a little smaller, and you have to watch for different planes. So if you look at the top, there is a plane here, and then there is a plane at the back, but in the middle there is this little tip that kind of almost reminds like a ornament. That's why sometimes painting pomegranate and Christmas ornament could be very similar. So you have to make sure you don't make it very round and very correct in shape, because it's very irregular. So at this point I added just a touch of white to that mixture of yellow and red, just to see how the top plane will look, because this is the top plane that goes like this. So I'll try a little bit of cad yellow deep and red as well, just to see if that looks better. Yeah, that gives more glow to the fruit, especially in the places where I need. And as you can see, I haven't painted highlight yet, so I'm getting to that. So there is plane here, there is shadow coming from there and shadow from this plane. There is a little bit lighter area in here because it's kind of a ridge, so I don't want to lose that ridge. So right now I'm just building my shape with the squinting, with help of squinting. The other thing I notice, my pomegranate on this side is a little bit more irregular, and there is some water reflected light. It's dark in value. It's kind of a little bit, I'm not sure if it's cool, a little bit coming from the back of the background, And there is a little bit coming from tabletop here as well. No, not quite the same. There is a little bit of light, much lighter, and it's red as well. So I don't want to make it very saturated, but it's one of those planes that reflects. So trying to make this plane a little brighter. Yeah. At the same time, I have to start working on this part because it's a cooler light. I'm going to build my highlight, and I'm using a little bit of white and a little bit of alizarin crimson. So I'm kind of building platform for this little highlight, and because it's a cool highlight, I want it to be in a cooler family of reds. So, and it kind of goes to the side because I have a window, I have a natural daylight, so it's not as strong as a artificial light, because this one seems to be too light. That's why I'm trying to make it more diffused, I would say. At the same time, I have to get the right value and the right tint on that. It's almost like blue, a little bit of blue. Not sure if it's will work if I try to do blue here. Yeah, it looks actually quite interesting. Okay, so good. You can see I didn't use much white in the beginning, but now I'm using more white. So at this point I'm not that worried that I will not have enough shadow color, because I can see I have enough of it, so that's good. So at this point I just walked a little bit away from it and try to judge my values on the background pomegranate itself, and so I can see there are kind of little things here on the ridge, but I don't want to make them too strong, because otherwise I'll lose my form. And that's, as you remember, I was saying, losing form is very easy with reflected light if you put too much of it. So now I kind of need to build this plane a little bit more, so make it a little bit more pronounced, because I lost some of it. So first of all, I'm going to do a little bit more on this plane and a little bit on this plane. want to lose this shadow as well. The shadow is quite dark in comparison. And I still want to build this little tip. It's a little bit brown, combination of red and brown, and at the same time there are some lights coming on it, so I'm going to do those lights. So I'm using a white and a little bit of cad yellow dip, and I only do it where I see the lights that coming. There are a little bit of, there are some little highlights in those areas. And I want to use more of cad red light and cad yellow dip on this tip. And on this plane. Now I'll try to put a little bit of different color. So I'm still using the same mixtures that I had. Like, I'm just trying to vary them slightly and see if I can improve the shape of this pomegranate a little. Yeah, I tried to make a diffused light in that area. Now I'm going to add a little bit more cad red light to the dark mixture and just see if any of this will make a difference on this. Yeah, I think the front plane of pomegranate, where the majority of light hits, I think it's a little bit dark, so I'm going to kind of make it a little bit lighter and brighter. Yeah, it looks better. And correct the form a little. And I think this plane not as dark as well. It's just interesting to see how many variations of color and value in that fruit. So this is almost pink at the bottom here, so I really want to kind of show it at the same time with the darker fruit still behind there. So I'm trying to squint as much as I can. Again, trying to see if this plane goes this way a little. Yeah, there are softer edges within pomegranate itself, but there are some harder edges in the main areas of contrast. I think I shouldn't have done that but I see this little diffusions of light on the plane. Yeah, because this way we have a better idea of the shape of pomegranate. I have the same kind of reflection here. Yeah, I think I captured the shape and the main highlights. And now I'm going to just finish background. So at this point, I think I'm going to turn off the video because the main idea was just to show how to track the shapes and the planes of pomegranate and how quickly to sketch it. So the main thing is to squint and try to look in the bigger shapes. So if I squint, I see all this plane of pomegranate is really dark, and there is a little bit of reflected light coming into that back plane from background, so I'll just very, very lightly touch that. There is a little bit of very dull, again, reflection of tabletop in shiny pomegranate. And then there is this highlight that I may want just to lift up a little, and it's a cool highlight. Yeah, a little bit too strong for my window, but I think I'll leave it because I don't want to mess with it too much. Yeah, so at this point I think I'm done, and I will finish this video. I think it's done. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time soon.